Welcome to Classics Unwrapped. David, if I can come to you first of all, where have you just flown in from?
As far as the tour is concerned, we flew from Japan. We had a few days break in between Southeast Asia, Japan leg, and here. So we're all a little bit on a completely different time zone, trying to catch up with ourselves.
And this is you starting your UK tour here in Glasgow, which is fantastic, here in Scotland, first of all. Tell us a little bit about Amor y Pasión.
Well, this show is like no other in Il Divo before. I mean, it's the first time we sing solos, we play instruments, we have dancers on stage with us, and we're dancing. It's just the whole show is so beautifully flowing with all that Latin repertoire, and it's so, with all these elements I've just mentioned, you know, there's so much light and shade in it. It's very entertaining for us to do, and definitely also for the public to watch.
Now, you talk about that Latin element. If I can ask Carlos, who decided the repertoire for this CD?
Yeah, the repertoire started about 2 years ago. We had we were singing on a TV show in Spain, and then we spoke to the Spanish record company. We should do something with Latin music. So we just put a really long list forward. It was about 300 songs, and then we just went to the studio and we just recorded with Julio Reyes. He's from Colombia, a very well-known producer. Yeah, we just recorded about 20-30 songs, and then we choose the 11 best songs. That was quite difficult, but it's fantastic.
We put it out to our many listeners in Classics Unwrapped to send in their questions for Il Divo, and just along that line we had Gillian Reid-Watts asked on Facebook if you'll be making a DVD of the new album, David.
Well, it's a topic that's certainly under discussion at the moment, okay, but we certainly want to.
So watch this space, that's what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. Keep tuning in.
Urs talked about the fact that you're all playing instruments in this. Now, David, I saw that you've actually learned the bandoneon for this tour. Now, when did you start learning, and just how difficult is that wee button box?
It is probably, you know, I have a little bit of experience with instruments. I play a little bit of guitar, a little bit of piano. My first instrument when I was younger was learning the trombone. All of these instruments have absolutely they don't even rate on the scale of difficulty when it comes to the bandoneon, because there's no frame of reference on it. It's not like an accordion where one side is actually piano keys and, you know, some sort of familiarity. Both sides are all just buttons, and they're randomly arranged. There's seemingly no pattern. I even when we were rehearsing the tour down in Mexico, I got a teacher down there and I said, "Now look, I've not been able to figure out the pattern. What's the pattern?" He said, "There's no pattern. You just have to learn each button, and it plays a different note when you pull it than when you push it." So it was hard. All that to say, it was hard.
Well, good for you for doing that. Sebastian, if I can ask you, please, in this production as well as the playing, there's a certain amount of dancing. Now, not all singers are known for their dancing. 2 left feet, many of us have. How have you found that transition into hoofing?
You know what, for me, actually, it's always been a passion of mine just to learn about dancing, and probably had 2 left feet, but had to learn that I had 2 feet that were a right one and a left one.
And you've got to do tangos and
that's right,
salsa.
Mambo, salsa. There's all different sexy dance to our music. But I must say that each and every one of us is having a lot of fun. And during the rehearsals in Mexico, we've had tremendous
Well, my wife is from Mexico, and she'll always say, you know, when it comes to that sort of Latin rhythm, you have to ask a Latino. So I'm going to ask you, how was their Latin rhythm?
It wasn't bad at all. I mean, we had a very good teacher. I mean, Alex Robles is the choreographer, and he had done a fantastic job with us. I mean, yeah, we look like real dancers. We look like, but I don't know if we really dance properly.
We were asked, Yoko Rosa, who I think saw you in Japan, she was asking about how you recuperate after a show with all that singing and dancing. How on earth do you sort of recharge the batteries? Urs?
It's a difficult question, you know. The problem is that normally after the shows, because you're on adrenaline, you can't really go to sleep. So you don't go to sleep until 2, 3 a.m. When you don't have an early flight, then that's okay, you know, then you can have a lie-in till midday. But if you have to get up at 8 again and catch an early flight to go to the next venue, then it becomes wearing. It becomes wearing. I always say, you know, when we do a year-long tour like this, by the end of it, I feel like a jack in a box. I feel like the tour manager is just putting me in a box. He's shifting me over the planet, and at 8 o'clock at night saying, come on, sing. And then I go back into the box, and then he's shifting me to the next city. It's kind of, it gets to that point where it's really, you just travel and sing, and you travel and sing. And we still enjoy the singing very much, but the rest of it gets quite tiring.
Well, I hope you get a chance to see something of Scotland as you make your way to the airport tomorrow. But tonight you've got a gig. Il Divo, thanks for joining us in class.